Can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up for a minute and let me finish?
Pardon me, sir. You don't get to tell me to shut up on national television.
We don't tell people to shut up on this show.
Welcome to today's cable news craziness, where we take a look at some of the craziness that takes place on cable news. Today, CNN's Anderson Cooper and guest Max Boot, one of these conservatives that's conserving conservatism by acting as liberal as possible, are talking about how Fox News and other networks that they don't agree with, they probably need to go away. And if they don't go away on their own, then the private sector should come in and make them go away. And if the private sector doesn't come in and make them go away, well, maybe the government should come in and make them go away. Roll it.
They also, not only furthered the big lie, people like Maria Bartiromo there and Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, they also built up January 6th as if it was some day of reckoning.
Exactly, and they constantly told their viewers to come out and fight on January 6th. And, is it a surprise that some people took those words literally? Just a few days ago, you had James Murdoch, who was part of the family that owns Fox News, saying that it was imperative for media property owners to show some responsibility and to stop putting on those kinds of lies. Now, I don't know if his brother Lachlan and his father Rupert, who control Fox News, I don't know if they're going to listen to that. But if they don't, there are other options, including the fact that cable operators like Comcast and Charter, which send Fox out to hundreds of millions of people, they can demand some accountability in the way that Facebook and Twitter have done. And there's also, I think, the possibility of reviving the fairness doctrine, which the FCC enforced until 1987, and which mandated some minimal standards of factuality and balance on the part of TV stations. And since that's disappeared, it's just been a complete free-for-all with all sorts of lunacy being fed directly into the right-wing ecosystem.
I know this is going to blow you away, but Anderson Cooper and Max Boot are wrong on pretty much every single thing they said here. This idea that the fairness doctrine is going to come in here and save these individuals is absolutely laughable, because the fairness doctrine never once applied to cable news. But they say it as if it's a fact and nod along and agree and, okay, fine, bring the fairness doctrine back. And then what are they going to do? They're going to shut down Fox News? If the fairness doctrine did apply to cable news, this conversation they're having right now, wouldn't it have to have someone from the other side saying, yeah, that's a lie? Wouldn't there have to be some form of debate in these scenarios instead of just a one-sided conversation? Why in the world are they trying to invite that into their own format? Well, because they know that under the Joe Biden administration, if there is something called the fairness doctrine, it will not be what they're describing here. It will just silence their political enemies. And that's really what this is all about. If they can't silence their political enemies by using advertiser boycotts and pressure and Twitter or whatever, they want to use the federal government in order to do it. They want to use the federal government to silence their political opponents. They don't want to win in the arena of ideas. They don't want fairness. They want to crush their enemies. And if the fairness doctrine was in place, would you have had Eric Swalwell? Would you have had guys like Adam Schiff? Would you have hired the FBI Deputy Director, Andrew McCabe, to come on the airwaves at CNN and tell lie after lie after lie about the Russia investigation? An investigation that went on forever and had lies and mistruths and wrong statements made by CNN employees all over the place. Yet there's been no consequences. Now, would a fairness doctrine under this situation have ruined CNN? These guys don't know what they're talking about. Like I said, it doesn't apply here. This is about silencing your enemies. And luckily, Max Boot and this individual, Anderson Cooper, are so inept in their arguing that you'll never see anything like this, because the First Amendment still applies. And because of that, you will never hear on Fox News or OAN or Newsmax or right-wing talk radio where I'm a host, people talking about shutting down different outlets because we disagree with them. Yeah, occasionally you might hear a nut job here and there, but they're obviously drowned out by the chorus of individuals that learned to love freedom and still do. In this particular case, they decide what they believe is the only thing that can be said, and anything else is wrong. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that think this exact same way. And that right there is a situation we don't want to get into. But Luckily, this is never going to happen because, like I said, the First Amendment still applies, and we're not going to let these people have their way. We'll continue to watch as cable news craziness continues into the Joe Biden administration, and as you're seeing, it's not slowing down, it's just going to ramp up. So come on back every single day, like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, and come on back tomorrow. Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my good friend Matt Curtis and the Matt Curtis Real Estate Team. Now, Matt Curtis has been a friend of mine for a long time, but he's been my realtor longer than that. He has done a great job for me. He has bought and sold homes. One time he sold a house so quickly that I was standing in the living room with my wife and I said, where are we going to live? We sold our house so quickly we didn't even have a place to live. Matt Curtis solved that problem for me as well. Matt Curtis is that amazing. So learn more about Matt Curtis and the Matt Curtis Real Estate Team by going to mattcurtisrealestate.com. Check him out today and tell him Dale Jackson sent you.